Well, public education in America is getting a failing grade. Left-wing teachers, radicalized, their unions are spreading their ideology in classrooms while students can barely read and write. And instead of helping them reading, writing, arithmetic, this is what they're encouraging their kids to do. High schoolers from Indiana and Texas walked out to protest ICE and the teachers cheering them on. Here to discuss, senior fellow at Americans for Fair Treatment and author of The Parent Revolution, Corey DeAngelis. Also with us, president of the James G. Martin Center for Education Renewal, Jenna Robinson. Thank you so much for joining us. Corey, how disappointing is this?
It's insane. Taxpayers get to fund all this mess. We spend about $20,000 per student per year in the public school system. And you had the teachers unions have been cheering this on every step of the way with this anti-ICE propaganda. You had the NEA, the largest union in the country. They're encouraging teachers to print out anti-ICE immigration posters in their classroom. They're encouraging teachers to wear blue on specific days to protest. And meanwhile, we have only 20% of kids in America who are proficient in math. In this Indiana school district, I believe that the numbers are similar there as well. In places like Chicago, they have 55 public schools with not a single kid proficient in math. They spend $30,000 a kid. And guess what? The NEA at their annual convention last year, they published resolutions and they passed them at their annual convention in Portland, Oregon, to oppose Trump's immigration agenda. So the teachers union's behind a lot of this mess.
They certainly are. And Jenna, speaking of the teachers union, the National Education Association, they put out they're putting out propaganda against ICE. Look at this, freeze funding for ICE, urging teacher. I mean, this is unbelievable. What do you think about this? I mean, and at least 98.96% of this union, the National Education Association, contributions went to Democrats in the 2024 election cycle. How is this possible that this is a teachers union and they are basically a radical left organization?
Absolutely. I think that what we could really use in K-12 is a concept that has been spreading in higher education, and that is the concept of institutional neutrality. If you are speaking on behalf of the institution, if you're at the institution, you have to be neutral about the political issues of the day. And I think this is even more important in our K-12 schools where students are young. They have not formed their opinions yet. They are incredibly impressionable. And so if a teacher, someone who is an authority, tells them that ICE is your enemy, that ICE is doing something that is wrong, then they're going to take that trustingly. And so I think it's incredibly important that our teachers remain neutral in the classroom, that they not cheer on these walkouts, and even more so that if students walk out when they are supposed to be in class, that they are given unexcused absences. I think that teachers need to set an example, and they're not doing so here.
They certainly aren't. Corey, we have been seeing also some disturbing videos online all over the internet of schools descending into chaos. You've got educators being like this first grade teacher hanging the American flag upside down in her classroom. I saw a teacher being jumped, beaten up outside. I mean, what do you think is happening?
It's insane. These schools must be held accountable. We need to freeze federal funding for schools that engage in this anti-Trump propaganda. And the NEA is the only union in the country that has a federal charter. They got the backing of Congress over 100 years ago in 1906, but they've strayed so far from their original mission, from being about educating kids to being an activist arm, a far left apparatus of the Democrat Party. As you pointed out, Becky Pringle is the president of that union, and she's also an at-large member of the DNC. So we need to revoke their federal charter. We need to freeze funding until we figure this stuff out. We need school choice so parents can go to better places. And teachers who aren't aligned with this stuff, look, a quarter of teachers identify as Republicans. They need to pull their funding from the union. Go to optouttoday.com. You can click on your state, and you don't have to keep giving your money to your political opponents like Becky Pringle, who makes over $500,000 a year.
Unbelievable. We're going to leave it right there. Thank you guys so much for joining us.